Today, we're going on a little medical investigation, diving into a microscopic parasite that can turn a dream vacation into a total nightmare. Think of it as the ultimate unwelcome souvenir you definitely don't want to bring home. So, picture this. You've just gotten back from an amazing trip, right? But something is off. You've got this illness that just won't go away, and doctors are having a hard time figuring it out. Well, the answer might just be hiding in something you ate or drank, a tiny hidden stowaway you picked up on your travels.
All right, so who is this tiny culprit behind our traveler's terrible time? Let's get properly introduced to the organism at the very center of our story.
Okay, meet Cystoisospora belli. Yeah, it's a mouthful, so let's break that down. First, it's a single-celled protozoan. Now, scientists call it an obligate intracellular endoparasite. Endoparasite just means it lives inside you. But obligate intracellular, that's the really crucial part. It means this thing has to invade and live inside your body's cells to survive. It's a true cellular hijacker. And let's be super clear here. When we're talking about Cystoisospora belli, we are not talking about a stomach bug from a bacterium like Salmonella or a virus like norovirus. It's also not a worm. Nope. This parasite is in a whole different category of microscopic troublemakers. What's so interesting is that this isn't some new threat that just popped up. It was actually first identified way back in 1860 by the famous pathologist Rudolf Virchow. For a long time, it was called Cystoisospora belli, and you might still see that name in older books, but it got reclassified as we learned more about its biology. And if you look at this table, you can see exactly where Cystospora belli fits into the tree of life. See its phylum? Apocomplexa. That puts it in the same notorious group as the parasites that cause malaria and toxoplasmosis. So yeah, it comes from a pretty infamous family. So now that we've been introduced, let's follow this invader and see exactly how it operates once it makes its way inside a person. So its life cycle is what's called monogenous, which is a fancy way of saying it only needs one host to complete its entire life cycle. Us, humans. It all starts when you swallow its little egg-like form, called an oocyst. Then, inside your small intestine, your own digestive enzymes basically pop it open, releasing the next stage. These little guys then invade the cells lining your gut, multiply like crazy, and destroy those cells from the inside out. Finally, new oocysts get shed in your poop, ready to mature out in the world and start the whole cycle over again. Now, this is absolutely crucial. What happens next depends entirely on who the host is. This infection can be a minor annoyance for one person and a complete life-threatening disaster for someone else. Just look at the difference here. It's night and day. For someone with a strong immune system, it's usually a self-limiting case of diarrhea that's over in a few weeks. But for an immunocompromised person, say someone with advanced HIV/AIDS, it is a completely different, terrifying story. The diarrhea can be relentless, even cholera-like, causing severe dehydration, malnutrition, and a dangerous wasting syndrome. This is exactly why Cystoisospora belli is considered a major opportunistic infection. And here's a closer look at the damage it's doing inside. The parasite actually makes the villi, those tiny finger-like things in your intestine that absorb all your nutrients, shrink and flatten out. That's called villus atrophy. Your body tries to keep up, but it just can't. And what's really fascinating from a medical standpoint is the eosinophilia, a big spike in a specific type of white blood cell. You don't usually see that with other protozoan infections, and it can even lead to these weirdly shaped Charcot-Leyden crystals showing up in stool samples. Okay, so given how wildly different the symptoms can be, how do doctors actually solve the mystery and figure out what's going on? Well, cracking this case can be really tricky. The main tool is still the microscope, looking for those oocysts in a stool sample. But here's the challenge. The parasite isn't always shed in every sample, so a single negative test doesn't mean you're in the clear. Doctors often need at least 3 samples to be sure. And while newer PCR tests are way more sensitive, it's interesting that unlike with a lot of other parasites, there aren't any common off-the-shelf antigen or antibody tests available to diagnose it in people. So, what's the fix? The standard treatment is an antibiotic combo called trimethoprim sulfamethoxazole, or TMP-SMX for short. That's the guideline pretty much everywhere, including in the Netherlands. But for immunocompromised patients, a short course just isn't going to cut it.
they often need to be on that medication long-term to prevent the infection from coming back, especially since the parasite can hide out in other parts of the body. All right, let's zoom out from the individual patient for a second and look at the bigger picture. Where in the world does this parasite live, and how does it spread?
Cystospora belli is technically found all over the globe, but it definitely has a preference. It absolutely thrives in the tropics and subtropics. The warm, humid weather in places like Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia is just perfect for those oocysts to mature outside the body, which makes transmission way more common. So then you have to ask, how common is it in a country like the Netherlands? Well, the estimated prevalence in the Dutch population that hasn't traveled is at most 0.1%. It is incredibly rare. And this quote from Dutch health sources really hammers the point home. In places with cooler climates and good sanitation, it's basically considered an imported disease. They make it super clear. Infections are almost always tied to travel in those endemic areas. It's the classic traveler's tale. Which brings us right back to our traveler. How can you avoid this happening to you? Well, the prevention tips are pretty straightforward, but they are so important. It really all boils down to good hygiene and just being smart about what you eat and drink, especially when you're in those high-risk regions. Simple things like sticking to bottled water and peeling your fruit can make all the difference. Looking to the future, there is some really good news. Diagnostics are getting faster and easier to access. The development of these new, portable, rapid PCR systems could be a total game changer, especially in the resource-limited countries where Cystoisospora belli is most common. It would mean getting a diagnosis and starting treatment so much faster. And that leaves us with a final question to chew on. Cystoisospora belli might be rare in some places, but in a world where we can hop on a plane and be on the other side of the planet in hours, is any disease ever truly foreign anymore? It's a pretty powerful reminder of just how connected our global health really is. Just so you know, this entire explainer was put together using a Gemini deep search. If you really want to nerd out and dive into the primary scientific sources, we've put together a full list for you in the Notebook LM document that's linked down in the description. So, did you find this breakdown useful? If you did, please hit that subscribe button for more explainers just like this one. We'd also love to hear what you think, so please leave any questions or feedback for us in the comments. Thanks for watching!